Hello again, this is Frank DeMore with the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. Today's July 14th of 2011, and I just got through giving you 4 videos about the call for peace and safety. And in the interview that I read you that complete report on, we see that one of the leaders of the Palestinians said they're going before the UN, and they've been doing this peacefully. Now, obviously, if you've been watching the news, you know that isn't true. And I'm going to show you just a few examples of that in the news today. And we know, again, this is leading to the second half of 1 Thessalonians 5:3, where Jesus talks about the sudden destruction that is going to be coming when they're calling for this peace and safety. Now, in the news today from the Ynet News, .com, we have an article that is entitled "More Rockets Fired from Gaza." Now, first of all, who is in the Gaza Strip? Well, obviously, it's the Palestinians. It's the people who are going before the UN and saying that they're peacefully, but obviously, if these rockets are being fired from the PLO in the Gaza Strip into Israel, that wipes out the notion that they're trying to do this peacefully. It's not the case. It's a flat out lie. When you see physical rockets land in Israel territory, you know that it is a gesture of war. It is not a gesture of peace. Now, it says this: more rockets fired from the Gaza. I'll put this up here so that you can see it for yourself. You can go to my website, www.bibleprophecyman.com. And when you're there, you'll see the link. You'll be able to also download my book, The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth, there for free. It says this: Qassams fired from Strip explode in open areas Thursday afternoon. Terrorists fired rockets at southern Israel early in the morning. 3 Qassam rockets fired from Gaza Thursday afternoon exploded in open areas in southern Israel as the rate of attacks from the Strip again picked up. Now, if you go back and if you've been following my post over these many years, I told you this scenario was going to happen, and it is actually taking place. Just like I said, the warnings, because I know what the word of the Lord says, and it says that there's going to be destruction. And I know that the philosophy of behind the Palestinians and the Arabs is they have to retake East Jerusalem as their own territory, and they'll never stop until they get it back. And that means war. And if you saw the videos that I put up just recently, one of the leaders or the clerics said that they're going to liberate Jerusalem when millions of Arabs will march against Israel. So these are all gestures of war, not of peace. It says no injuries or damages were reported, thank God, in the latest attacks. The color red anti-rocket alert was activated in the area. Palestinian terrorists also fired a rocket at southern Israel Thursday morning. So we have constant barrage of these rockets that are going into Israel. Now what happens? Well, every time that this happens, Israel responds to these attacks, and they do it with more force than was given to them from these Qassam rockets. So now just watch the news. In the next couple of days, you're going to see Israel retaliate against the people, the PLO, who sent in these rockets. And they're terrorists. They're not peaceful people. Peaceful people may go up to a border with flags, but they don't hurl in rockets. Now here's another ominous warning. And obviously, this is not only a warning, but it's also, you'll see, a fulfillment of prophecy. This is the article that I'm going to be holding up for you, and you're going to be able to go and see the complete article at my website. I know that it may be hard to read it here at my YouTube channel, so I'll give you the headlines. Hezbollah, Lebanon will not let Israel seize its natural gas. And before I give you this article, let me read to you what it says in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 19. I'll just give you verse 19 and 24, and hopefully it will encourage you to read the whole chapter, because there are many teachers who focus just on isolated verses, and they can distort the scriptures to their own destruction. This is one of the prophecies in the New Testament. In the last days, people would do this. And so I'm always telling the people to read the entire chapter, to understand and study, to show yourselves a workman for the Lord Jesus Christ. But this is what it says in verse 19 in reference to the oil that was promised to Israel. It says, "They shall call the people into the mountains. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck of the abundance of the seas and of the treasures hidden in the sand." Okay, well, what's in the sand and what's in the seas? Gas and oil. And in verse 24 it says, "And of Asher he said, Let Asher be blessed with children, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil." Oil. So the promise to the Israeli people is that they would discover gas and oil. They're going to discover it in the seas and in the water, and that's exactly what's happened in this generation. And so this is not only a fulfillment of that prophecy, but it's also, when you get all of the prophecies together, you see that we are in that last generation. Now, back to the article. Hezbollah, Lebanon will not allow Israel to seize its natural gas. Now, again, we're reference to the signs of war, because if you have nations that want this black gold, if you will, they're willing to fight for it. And now there's a border dispute about who owns this gas and this oil. So we're seeing the footprints of a war breaking out, possibly over because of the rights of the gas and the oil. It says Deputy Secretary General Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is the enemy, one of the factions of the PLO that hates Israel, and they want to destroy Israel, and they've been working for that. These are also some of the people who are sending the rockets in to Israel. Hezbollah says Lebanon will protect its rights in face of Israeli threats as Israel-Lebanon conflict on their maritime economic border escalates. So the tensions are rising over the gas and the oil. Hezbollah Deputy Secretary it goes on to say that it said that Lebanon will not tolerate Israel seizing its oil or gas and water reserves. Channel 10 reported on Thursday, and water is definitely an issue because there's a drought that's going on, and water is almost as precious as gold. So there's many reasons why war can break out. And we know that it's going to break out because in 1 Thessalonians 5:3 it says, sudden destruction will come. The article also says that Lebanon will stand guard in order to protect all its rights no matter the cost, Qassam stressed during the speech on the Israeli-Lebanon maritime border conflict. Qassam said Hezbollah supports Lebanon's insistence to protect its maritime rights as well as the proposal it has submitted to the United Nations in August on where the maritime economic border should be. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has recently said that the maritime borders proposed by Lebanon encroach upon Israeli territory and are significant further south than recognized by Israel and determined in the previous deal. So what will happen is if the Hezbollah makes any attempt whatsoever to get this oil or to get this gas, whether it be in the sea or in the sand, there's going to be war. And we know that war is coming because we see it not only in the warning of 1 Thessalonians 5:3, we also see it in Psalm 83, which we know that there's another war that hasn't been fulfilled yet that is coming, and that does involve Hezbollah. So if you know what God is showing us, you can see the future even before it happens. Qassam said that Israel the Israeli threats do not scare Hezbollah. Israel knows its threats are worthless in Lebanon after the bitter experience it has gained in the face of Lebanon's steadfast stance, he said. And he's making this comment in reference to the 2006 war between Lebanon and Israel. And what they're trying to say is Lebanon won that war. Israel just pulled back. If they wanted to crush them at any time, they could have done it. And here's another thing. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu didn't even go into Lebanon until there was almost 7,000 rockets that fired from the Palestinians' territory in Lebanon into Israel. So who's the peaceful people? Israel, when you really look at the news and you see who made these attacks first, you'll see that it isn't Israel who is doing this. Israel responds to it, and because of the response that Israel does, we see that the news media picks it up, and they're always saying that it's Israel's the aggressor and whatnot. But what I'm trying to show you here are there are many instances and there are many facets of channels that could cause war in the Middle East, and we're seeing them almost now on a daily basis. And I guarantee that, as I said before, in the news, now that Israel's gotten 3 more of these Qassam rockets that fired in from the Palestinian territories, there's going to be a response and the tensions will rise. And my last point is this: these are the signs of the birth pangs that Jesus warned about in in Mark chapter 13, verse 8. I pray that you believe this, not for my sake, but for your own sake if you don't know the Lord yet, because you're running out of time. The Lord is coming back. And my last point would be this. I've been having people write to me saying that they're having, whether it be dreams or visions, and I wrote about this in my post earlier today, and I posted a few of them that I just received. And we know from the book of Acts, and we also know from Joel, that in the last days your young men and the women would be dreaming, having visions and dreams. This is what we're told by in the book of Acts and Joel about the last days. These things would take place, and we're starting to hear a lot of people having these dreams and these visions, and they're all about the second coming of Jesus Christ. At least the ones that I'm getting are. So I'd like you to do this, and I know that many of the visions and the dreams that I'm going to be getting may be pretty absurd, so I really want you to pray about this. And I want the dreams and the visions, when they become so real, I mean, you'll know. Please email me these dreams and the visions. I'll read what has happened to you, explain it to me the best as you can, and I will post some of these dreams and visions up. Or I'll try to post as many as come up, unless there's thousands of them, which then I'll have to pick from. But please, email me those dreams and the visions if you're having them. The Lord told us in 2 different places, in the Old Testament and the New Testament, these things would happen in the last days. And I believe that we're so close to the last days that many, many of these dreams and visions are warnings that He is coming soon. To me, that is really good for my heart, because I know that very, very soon, I believe, I'm going to be looking in the eyes of Jesus Christ standing in heaven, while the rest of the people who refuse the salvation message of Christ will be on earth to face the Antichrist. That is a dreadful, dreadful place to be. So, thank you.